to begin this week's episode of Total Entertainment Forever, starring your host, Andrew.
And your other host, Nick. In fact, let's just do the traditional intro right off the bat, just so we don't forget later like we did last episode. Not going to point any fingers, but it's definitely both our faults in equal measure.
All right.
This is Total Entertainment Forever, guys. This is a podcast where we talk about all the major figures of pop culture, and today is going to be a slight deviation from the standard formula we've all known and come to love in the past 3 episodes. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a little more loosey-goosey, going to be a little more off the cuff, because I know you guys are used to just pure professionality when it comes to us.
Absolutely. Just in-depth analysis that you can't find anywhere else.
Cultural analysis and criticism that belongs in the fucking Wall Street Journal. It belongs in the New York Times. It belongs in every major publication. But we give it to you for free. No paywall here, guys.
As of right now.
Enjoy
it while it lasts.
But today, we're going to be...
It's a grab bag.
Yeah,
it's loosey goosey.
It's a grab
today.
bag. We're gonna kick our feet at. We're gonna kick our feet back. All right. I'm at Andrew's house. I'm gonna take off my shoes. I'm gonna take off my socks.
Take your shirt off.
Hands,
get
I'm gonna put my bare feet right on your chair. All right. Gonna pop open a Celsius, a cold one. All right. And I'm gonna enjoy myself.
You want a glass for that? Put it on the rocks.
Maybe later.
All right.
Maybe if I'm feeling really loose next in the next few minutes. But Andrew, how you doing, man? How's it been?
I'm good.
It's been too long.
I'm thriving. I saw you like a day ago, bud.
Don't say that.
We don't hang out with anybody else. This is what we do.
Hey, speak for yourself. All right, we hang out a lot, but occasionally other people are thrown in the mix.
They are there.
And are immediately alienated because of our monster chemistry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
It's true. But, wait.
They experience in real life what you guys at home experience at home when you sit alone in your rooms listening to us talk because you can't find anybody else to talk to.
Yeah. Whenever we're like a small group of people, we'll just eventually just start ignoring them and we'll start talking about how I don't know how Frank Langella was in the He-Man movie or something.
Our
played
favorite
Skeletor.
Character actor.
One of our favorite character actors, Frank Langella, was in the movie He-Man. He played Skeletor. Fun fact.
Do the voice.
He-Man! That's my Frank Langella Skeletor.
Oh, it's so good.
I love it when really like high, I guess not Shakespearean, but like when like actors with a lot of gravitas plays roles like that. Like Frank Langella, Skeletor, or Jeremy Irons in that D&D movie.
Dennis Hopper? Dennis Hopper in that Super Mario Bros. Movie? No, we can leave it.
We'll double it. God. Well, I don't know if I ever would put him in the same gravitas. I think as he got older, he got a little bit of gravitas, but it was always Dennis Hopper gravitas. It was like, okay, this guy, he's seasoned, but he's also probably drunk and high, like right now. All right? It's not like professional gravitas in any sense.
I think that makes it
also
more
Dennis
impressive.
Hopper in Waterworld, too.
You know what? I'm not willing to dismiss Waterworld. I wanna see it before I hop on. Yeah, before.
Yeah. Why? What do you think it's gonna sell you? What do you think Waterworld is?
I don't know. It's just like sort of looked at as
Are you a big
bust, and I wanna watch it, and I wanna.
It made some money, I think. It ended up losing money in the long run, but it wasn't like a enormous bomb, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it was massive. I think it was like one of the biggest at the time, just because they had to flood everything. Right.
But I think it was just an obscenely expensive film. It's not like no one went to see it, but it was just so obscenely expensive that there's no possible way it could have earned its money back. There's not like that. There's not billions of people in the world that want to see a movie about. What's his name? Kevin Costner.
It's like a reverse
drinking
Mad
his
Max.
own piss. Yeah, it's just a movie about Kevin Costner drinking his own piss. You might get some people see that. Some people are probably into that.
Bear Grylls made a whole career off of that, brother.
It's true, but this was the 90s, I guess, before the cultural revolution of piss drinking, and piss Olympics, waterworks, all that stuff didn't really hit the cultural milieu until the 2000s, I would argue.
I think of the Germans to thank for that.
That's true. Thanks, Germans. Another wonderful gift that you've given to us, the rest of the world. Oh boy. Anyway, you want to just get right into what we wanted to talk about?
Yeah. Well, like I said at the top, before I was rudely interrupted.
By me.
You want to apologize in front of everyone here?
No.
Okay, you could do it once you're off mic. I understand. Delicate masculinity.
Or maybe I will.
All right. So let me pose a question for all you at home. What would you do for us, your hosts here? Would you tell a friend about us? Would you donate money to our cause?
Perhaps 2 friends.
Would you commit ritual human sacrifice in our names? Or, at least some mild fraud? Because that's what some upstart Lady Gaga fans just did for her. And very recently, circulating the web, there was an advertisement that promised anybody who posted a picture of them streaming one of her songs from, what's that movie called again?
A Star is Born.
Yeah, God, we talk about it every week.
It's true.
Anyway, so there was the Starbucks ad that said if you posted a picture of you... Yeah, Jesus Christ.
This opportunity.
Streaming the song on your social media, and you showed it to someone at Starbucks, they would give you a free drink. But that ad was fake. It was fraudulent. It was made in
fake
Photoshop.
Fake ad people. We hate to see it.
Real ads are bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. The scheme worked. And that song is now in the Billboard, the top 100.
Well, I gotta tell you, though, they're dedicated. Do they have a name, Lady Gaga fanatics?
It was like the House of Gaga.
The House of Gaga?
Yeah, like a couple years ago, that was like a whole thing. Oh, no, Little Monsters.
That's right. I knew they had a name. I knew they had some stupid fucking name. But good for them. They are dedicated to something, and they're doing, like, internet troll stuff, but not for racism for a change. And that's comforting to see, frankly.
Yeah. I don't know if she doesn't need it, though. We need that.
I know that you
fans
I know that you have
there.
a lot of hatred in your heart for Lady Gaga. But I am happy to see it.
Reluctantly.
Yes.
Hopefully she'll go back to her freak roots.
I think
day.
she's terrific at all times.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I think she's just a good person.
You probably made that ad.
I probably did. I'm
fucking little monster.
I knew exactly what they were called.
Speaking of monsters, the first topic for today's episode: Mars Attacks.
Monsters are in this film. Monsters from Mars.
Martians. One might call them.
You could call them that. Tim Burton's 1996 film, Mars Attacks. We saw this the other day. We decided that we wanted to talk about it. We didn't think that this really deserved a whole episode, so we just decided to throw it into this little grab bag here.
No, you decided that. Personally, I would do a whole episode about Jack Nicholson in this movie alone.
Well, he does play 2 parts for no reason whatsoever. Because you'd think that him playing dual parts would maybe maybe the one guy would like disguise himself as the president or something. But no, it's just he just decided to play 2 parts. I think if I remember correctly, he read the script and said that he wanted to play all the parts, but they settled with 2. Because I don't know if you could imagine this film with all the male parts, or perhaps even all the female parts being played by Jack Nicholson, but that could be interesting.
Is he too old to like get him on Broadway and do like a one-man performance of Mars Attacks?
He's probably too old to do much, considering he's not even in regular films. He's just sitting fat and content over at Lakers games. And
I saw that picture.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame him though. Like the guy's old. I'd rather him kind of just take a seat back than do like what Hopkins has been doing for the past 2 years and just kind of fucking half-ass like a performance. Just show up in Transformers the last night and like be a little fey, but that's all. that's the crux of his performance. And then there's certain parts of that film where it looks like it was just a double and somebody dubbed Anthony Hopkins dialogue, and it wasn't even Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. Although I hear he is good in that Westworld show, and I hope he is. I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully he's back to his roots here. But what would you think of Mars Attacks? This is my first time watching it in a very long time, since I was a child.
I really liked it. Yeah. It was it's perfectly schlocky. It's sort of everything I want from a Tim Burton movie.
It's interesting. I think it's pretty much Tim Burton following up his Ed Wood movie with a film reminiscent, if not exactly copying, but still reminiscent of what Ed Wood maybe would have made. Back in the day, although obviously packed with A-listers, so not exactly like that, because Ed Wood had no A-listers on his roster except for Bela Lugosi.
No, yeah, he must have spent the bulk of his money on those A-listers, though. The special effects in this movie are unique to say the least.
Yeah, I think well, it was 20 years ago, and I think they hold up reasonably well just for the context of the film. The film is cartoonish and kooky.
Oh, no, they work, definitely.
Like, just in its own, just marvelously so, in my opinion. And I feel like the effects, as kind of cheap as they look, they hold up in their own way. The only problem I have with the special effects is that it seems like this is what introduced Tim Burton to CGI, which would be the downfall of his, like, creative impulse, it seems, in future years. So that's a problem. But other than that, I have no problem with the effects whatsoever. And I think he wanted to do stop motion. But the studio...
that would have been worse.
That would have been worse. And plus, the studio thought it was too expensive, too time-consuming. They were probably right in this case. I cannot even imagine what that would have looked like. And plus, they need the money for the, like, laundry list of A-listers and B-listers that are in this film.
Run down this cast really quick.
Jack Nicholson in 2 roles, as previously mentioned. Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, Glenn Close, Natalie Portman, Danny DeVito, Michael J. Fox, Annette Bening, Tom Jones, Martin Short, Lucas Haas, Lisa Marie, Jack Black, Pam Grier, Christina Applegate, Jim Brown. And a lot of these people are basically just there to show up for one scene and then die, which I think is kind of like, I don't know if this is what was intended, but it just seems like a funny troll on general audiences, just to have these people just be there and just to be murdered, usually terribly, by cackling aliens. It just seems like a fun little joke on the audience to me. Another thing I like about the film is that the tone is very offbeat. It reminds me, and I told you this while we were watching it, it's basically just Destroy All Humans, that video game, but a decade before the game was made, and, at a movie instead of a video game. But yeah, it's the same tone. It's the same kind of general, like, satirical outlook on Mars Attacks, specifically, like, America, where they're just basically taking the piss out of the regal Washington, D.C. setting, out of, like, the just vain greediness of the Las Vegas setting. Of,
as portrayed by one of Jack Nicholson's characters.
Where exactly.
He plays the full unrestrained Nicholson.
He's playing unrestrained Nicholson. His teeth are in full view at all times. He's just smiling and smiling. He's doing just a little southern drawl. He's having fun in both these roles. He's very good in the film. I can't really judge the performance at a lot of these people because, like I said, they're there for like a second.
This is like pre-fame Jack Black, where he doesn't have his shtick yet.
No,
he's just sort of there.
He talks like Forrest Gump, and then he just immediately dies on the battlefields, and there's absolutely no heroicism to it, or any kind of like meaning to his death. It's a purely nihilistic film in that sense in a lot of ways. Because a lot of these deaths are just either played for laughs or just so casual that you almost are asking yourself what happened after they happen. Stark contrast from Independence Day of the same year, which I suspect is why the movie bombed, is because it just happened to coincide with Independence Day, a movie that, while on the same level of cheesiness, is a fairly is a fairly genuine film.
Oh, it's played deadly serious.
I don't want to say deadly serious because there's a lot of Will Smith dialogue, a lot of Will Smith one-liners and stuff. Like,
well, I mean, tonally
though, yeah, it's a very sincere film, I'll say. And
about America,
exactly.
Being the saviors
it's very patriotic.
Of the entire planet.
Yes, exactly. We save the entire planet. Like, literally, the rest of the world is just waiting for us to solve the alien issue. And then the president in that film has the rousing speech that has everyone cheering, has me cheering whenever I watch it, and then they defeat the fucking aliens because the speech is so awesome. Bill Pullman is right there with them on the front lines, fucking flying the fighter jets to the goddamn mothership. But in this film, there's a similar scene, where Jack Nicholson is, like, doing an inspiring speech, and then it just ends with the alien, like, crying and then shaking his hand, but then the hand turns into a snake and then impales him, and then he fucking dies. And then so that's exactly what the kind of film was. I guess America as a whole was not in the mood for that kind of thing, particularly not on Christmas, which is when it was released, and they rejected it. So I see why it bombed, but I feel like it's gaining favor in the past 20 years. This is a cult film.
Yeah, pretty good.
In many ways.
A lot of good little small bits to the movie. One of my favorite is Sarah Jessica Parker's head being attached to a dog's body. It's so weird.
And that scene where, because the aliens, just for shits and giggles, because that they're just mad lads, the aliens. They're just
having a good time.
They're having a good time, and I can appreciate they're just kind of like doing experiments, like they're switching body parts. They got Sarah Jessica Parker's head on a dog, and then the dog's head on her body, which leads to a scene where the image is just so ridiculous that I can't help but laugh when the dog-headed Sarah Jessica Parker body is just throttling the alien. It's just this tiny dog head. It's I don't know. It's amazing. I'm a big fan.
There's also a very iconic kiss scene. Probably up there with the kiss in Spider-Man 1.
Oh yeah,
Tobey Maguire is hanging upside down, kisses
very
Mary
romantic,
Jane.
very
in
very
this one,
lovely.
It's Pierce Brosnan's
Sarah Jessica Parker's
head, just his head, torso, everything else gone. It's like being held up by some clamps.
Yeah, it's kind of.
And in their last moments, dog body Sarah Jessica Parker and floating head Pierce Brosnan. They smooch.
Right, I think I think at that point, her head fell off the dog body, so it's just two heads rolling around in this ship that's like falling down because all the aliens are dead, and then they smooch, and then they fall into the river. It's the most romantic scene I've ever seen. I think, it brings a tear to my eye even to think about it. It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if there's much more to say about the film, but I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it to people who may be into. I guess maybe a companion piece to Independence Day, but that's a little less schmaltzy. If you're feeling purely, laughing...
Please stop making those noises.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Let's cut this
That's
out.
too subtle for the microphone to pick up, but you're about to throw up a fucking hairball like a cat.
I am.
We're not going to cut this. They need to know what I'm experiencing, I'm doing for them.
I think it was those onion rings I ate earlier.
Oh my God!
I don't know. My body is just packed full of trash. I apologize. I'm doing a what's called the podcaster's diet.
Oh my God!
so we'll have to. I'll deal with that later.
Also, I recommend this movie to any Tom Jones fans. Oh my God! You might know Tom Jones from the John Mulaney Salt and Pepper Diner bit.
Oh yeah. Also that one.
Yeah. Well, sing the song.
It's not unusual to fall in love with anyone.
Yeah, he delivers a rousing performance of that song
he sings to the forest the woodland creatures at the end.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So Tom Jones fans, I'm sure you're out there, you're listening to this right now. Go ahead and give Mars Attacks a try if you haven't already. Don't expect a whole lot, but, just expect to have, a decent time and, some fun deaths, like the aliens knocking the Washington Monument on a bunch of Boy Scouts. It's pretty funny. If that's your thing, if that's your type of thing, if you're just a misanthrope like Tim Burton is...
But one who likes to have a chuckle.
Yeah, if you're just a misanthrope that just has a nice guffaw every now and again at the expense of society, all right, at the expense of alien invasion tropes... all that stuff, then give it a watch. Why not? And if not, then don't. Is there anything else you wanted to say about Mars Attacks?
No, that's about it.
All right. Well, while we're talking about Mars Attacks, though, since we're done with the movie itself, I did have something I wanted to mention about it that kind of plays into other people that we have discussed on the show before. So Lucas Haas is in this film. Are you familiar with Lucas Haas?
Is he the nerdy long hair?
Yes.
Oh, can we really quickly touch on how the aliens are defeated?
Oh, yeah. All right, sure, yeah. Well, they are defeated because of yodeling music.
Yeah. So, the nerdy long hair's, grandmother is playing yodeling music at her nursing home, and one of the aliens is exposed to it, and it's a very A Quiet Place-esque thing. Where they just sort of bleed from the ears and die.
Their brains explode.
Yeah.
It's pretty gnarly.
Which is absurd and never explained. It's not
explained
any
at all.
high frequency noise. It's just the
specifically
sound of yodeling.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept it more in Mars Attacks than I am A Quiet Place, though, is the thing, because this film clearly just does not give a fuck.
No, it's just taking the piss.
Yeah, it's taking the piss. So, you expect the resolution to also be taking piss. And it was. It's kind of similar. I think there's don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a similar ending resolution to in Return of the Killer Tomatoes, or I think it's
haven't seen
actually
that.
the first one, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I'm sorry. I assumed you saw that.
Is it because I'm such a Clooney head?
Clooney's in Return. He's not in Attack.
Well, fuck. Then I double haven't seen it. And I don't intend to watch it now.
I'm sorry. Watch Return, though. Return is really good. It's
right.
got a good young Clooney performance in that. But speaking of young performances, let's go back to what I was about to say. All right, so Lucas Haas. Are you familiar with what's called the late 90s gang known as the Pussy Posse?
The Pussy Posse.
The Pussy Posse. Are you familiar with the Pussy Posse?
No.
All right. Well, the reason this is related to Lucas Haas is because he was in it, along with a few other former child stars of the mid to late 90s. They tended to frequent the New York area, and they played pranks. They did stink bombs. They snuck into Victoria's Secret's conventions, and they pulled pussy, as they would probably say. Not me, because I'm a woke man. I would never say pulling pussy. I would say pulling respectable young women. And do you know who else was in this quote unquote Pussy Posse?
Please inform me.
All right, so we have a friend of the show, Leonardo DiCaprio, was the main man. All right, he was the leader of the Pussy Posse. Also in this, Tobey Maguire, Lucas Haas, as previously mentioned, Harmony Korine,
Oh my God.
and also previously mentioned
Friend of the pod,
Harmony Korine, and David Blaine, the musician.
What the fuck?
And a few other
Magician?
people. The magician. You're not familiar with David Blaine?
You said musician.
Did I say
which
musician?
Is a different, yeah.
Whatever. It's the same thing. It's all performance art. Right?
Yeah, one of these things is not like the others. One of these things does not belong. You have like 4 very successful people, and then you have Lucas Haas.
Well, no, there was a few others too. I just don't remember their names, and the only reason I remember Lucas Haas's name is because he's in Mars Attacks.
That's fair.
But
I bet David Blaine,
right.
excuse my French here, pulled more pussy than any of them.
It's
because nothing tricks like more than a man, performing tricks.
I think I see what you're saying.
Oh yeah, gonna pull this rabbit out of a hat, and then pull the pussy. Yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly what happened. It seemed like, from what I've read, because there is like an article about this in the New Yorker or whatever, it seemed like Leonardo DiCaprio was like the leader for obvious reasons. Like in the late 90s, this was pre-Spider-Man, so he was by far the person with the most success. And he kind of, I guess he kind of just led the gang. He was the one that pulled the women in for the most part, and that I guess left the leftovers for everyone else. And he also like tried to get in fights occasionally. He tried to steal somebody's girlfriend. I forget, it was some minor celebrity, and then he attempted to fight him. There were a couple of very
rapscallions.
Yeah, a couple of rapscallions, definitely hooligans, I'd
Yeah.
say. This is just an interesting piece of history to bring up for Leo fans, especially people who are fans of Heartthrob Leo, just because back when he was in his prime Heartthrob mode, I'm talking like post Romeo plus Juliet, pre-Titanic, or post Titanic, he was doing this kind of shit.
Running around like the little rascals throwing stink bombs
Yeah,
at
exactly.
people.
It's very strange that Leo never seemed to kind of like hand out roles to his friends, like Adam Sandler does with his people a lot. It seemed like they just kind of hung around and were not as successful and were okay with it.
Beta orbiters.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they are.
Chad Leo.
That's exactly what they are. Because it took them like a decade for Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio to work together for The Great Gatsby. Yeah. because they were like the closest out of all of them, I think. And the only thing they made previous to that was something that I think was submitted to Sundance that was so grossly misogynistic that they tried to like basically erase its existence. I believe it was Tobey Maguire and DiCaprio in this, possibly a few other members of the Posse. And they literally tried to scrub it from the internet. It's available on Vimeo, though, if you're interested in
What's it called?
I forget what it's called. I can look it up. But it's apparently very. It's not very good to hear. It's apparently like misogynistic on a way that's pretty much unprecedented. I can look up the name right now, though.
All right. Well, while you're doing that,
yeah,
I have a fun piece of Tobey Maguire trivia that I like to share with everyone. Apparently, at some point over the filming of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, James Franco and Tobey Maguire's friendship came to a startling end when James Franco described Tobey Maguire as having frog-like features, something he has never forgiven him for, and frankly, neither have I.
That is a fairly, well...
I can forgive all of Franco's like attempts at being artsy, like these ham-fisted, really just obvious attempts at trying to be taken seriously as an artiste.
Yeah, like
I can look past.
You mean like
that.
Directing 18 movies that no one but him has seen?
Yeah, like God, that adaptation of that Faulkner book,
right?
Which apparently dying,
which apparently is not very good.
Very bad. Yeah, I can forgive that. You know, he's just trying to be Shia LaBeouf. Who doesn't want to be Shia LaBeouf?
I want to be Shia LaBeouf.
I cannot forgive this slight.
Metamodernism for the win.
To Tobey Maguire. Unacceptable.
It's true. It's very insulting. By the way, the name of the movie is called, for people who want to look it up and be disgusted, Don's Plum. It's called Don's Plum. And this is apparently a film where... Okay, and I'm reading from a Complex article right here. A movie so overtly misogynistic that also feels like such a close reflection of how the Posse probably talked and acted in real life. In making a movie with each other, the Pussy Posse accidentally brought their secret back table debauchery to the forefront. Stop looking at me like that. I'll fucking throw a bottle at your face, you goddamn whore, DiCaprio says to a girl in tears, while Maguire and Connolly laugh.
That's just Harmony Korine dialogue. He probably ghost wrote this.
Yeah, you're right. and yeah, so there you go. The Pussy Posse, guys. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Speaking of gross misogyny, let's move on to the next film on the docket, Borat.
Oh, yes. Well, before we go to that, let me just say that I'm pretty sure that they've all matured since then, and you shouldn't try to cancel them now for the details that I've just disclosed to you. I believe, they're probably all in better places, right?
Probably more likely.
Definitely more
everyone
mature.
Except for Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire might have gone.
Like
he might have gone further into darkness since then. But those are unsubstantiated rumors, and being a sociopath. So I'm willing to believe that it's not true. Hopefully, it's not true. But yeah, let's move on to Borat, because you just saw it for the first time recently.
I did.
It blew your mind.
I'm very excited.
It blew your mind whole, right into the fucking stratosphere. And I'm excited to talk to you about it, because it is one of my faves. And I quote it all the time.
Wow, we were.
My wife. I'm the kind of guy to pull up to a party and just say my wife, and then make everyone uncomfortable and leave the party. It's a fun time.
Right. So where do we want to begin? Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to start out pointing out this movie. It's people look back on it fondly. No one really looks back and scorns it and is like, oh, this is.
Yeah,
this is like.
Right, yeah, I think it is looked back on fondly. I mean, people don't quote it anymore because it was just such a heavily, a heavy cultural phenomenon at the time that quoting it now just seems, it seems gauche, and I only do it ironically, so it's all right.
Right, of course. No, I just mean, there's a lot of films from this sort of era that people look back and, they sort of view them as, distasteful, and I feel like Borat's kind of avoided that. There's a lot of stuff that happened in this movie.
I think there's a lot of reasons why.
That wouldn't at all fly today. Just casual references of the town rapists, some mild incest, the running of the Jew,
Oh my god.
Any of these things today, enough
wouldn't
to
fly.
sink an entire production.
They wouldn't fly. I feel like the reason why it's kind of, maintained respect for the most part is because of the context of when these are given. Like, sure, even with the context, you couldn't make them today without any kind of outrage, but the fact that it's like politically minded and it's very clearly trying to out people's kind of like more let's say discriminatory views and beliefs.
No, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
it's played up to a point where we could tear it satirical.
Right.
But I mean, even taking that in mind,
Yeah.
we've
It's
reached
still
a
very
point
extreme.
where people today don't necessarily sort of see that nuance.
Yeah. And I'd be more than willing to call it out as if it was, if it like was dated in the sense that it was just making fun of minorities and just mocking minorities. I don't think it is, though. I think the joke is on bigots in the film rather than the minorities themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about bigots in the film, though, there were surprisingly few. So watching this movie, what surprised me the most, and like a pleasant surprise, was that the Americans come off not horribly. They don't come off as scummy.
Not all of them, right?
There was one.
There's
the rodeo owner.
No,
who,
actually, there's two. There's the rodeo owner, and then there's like the college frat boys that
those are frat boys.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not gonna like cut them any slack, but they're sort of.
I guess you expect them to act like that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like I'm shocked whenever a frat boy is talking to me and he doesn't just casually drop the N-word. So.
Yeah, but outside of the rodeo owner and his whole shave your mustache so that you might look Italian.
Oh my god, that is one of the that is legitimately terrifying because I don't know I forget who this person is, but this is not like a pre-scripted thing.
No. And then Borat makes a joke references like homosexuals and how they like hang them in his country, and then the guys he has a quote like,
we're trying to
take him out and hang him. That's what we're trying to do here.
and
it's disgusting.
And it is bad because, and I think that's what the main pull of this character is. It's a character that's blissfully ignorant and of American culture, and he's kind of just because he's like a blank slate. He's bringing out like all of these ridiculous views and just monstrous opinions that these people have, like that guy and like the frat boys who I guess wanted what was it? They wanted slavery to come back or something like that.
Oh yeah, there's one of them who said slavery would be good if we brought that back. But
great stuff.
Everyone else in the movie, I don't know, they just seem like nonplussed or just like stunned in the cooperation. Like there was the guy at the hotel who delivered Borat the message that his wife has died, and then Borat starts to celebrate, and the guy's just like, yeah, like he joins in.
He high fives the guy.
Yeah, like the car salesman who had to deal with Borat asking for a car with a pussy magnet in it, and then the driver's ed guy when Borat asked him to like be his boyfriend, like they were
very nice. Yeah.
They handled it all very well. Which was like I said, very pleasant to see because I was expecting the Americans to come off horrible.
Right, there are times where he's like pushing harder to like get a reaction out of some people, like those like elites that he's eating with.
When he like
the high society people.
God,
like he's clearly trying to get a reaction.
He makes a comment about like how he'd sleep with someone's wife, and then specifically says he would not sleep with the other man's wife.
Exactly,
and then the other man like shoots him like a death glare, like daggers.
And that's one of those things where he's going a little bit farther. He's trying to get that reaction. So in some ways, I guess he's kind of betraying what the character is supposed to be. But it's also funny just to see these like people who are probably have never experienced a moment of discomfort in their life kind of be brought down a peg for a second. It's nice. And also, I think he paid back that poor pawn shop owner for like the destruction.
Breaking an entire room worth of plates.
Yeah, like an antique shop owner. Yeah, I think he paid them back for that.
Right. So I was happy to find out though that while none of the other people portrayed in the film were necessarily in on what was happening, that Pamela Anderson was, because at the very last scene where he goes to see her at that signing,
he basically just straight up kidnaps
spontaneously stuffs her into a bag. I was worried that they had like mentally scarred Pamela Anderson.
No, because that would be very, very
illegal.
Kidnapping. That would be kidnapping.
Because like the guards chase after him,
right,
and like tackle him in the parking lot.
But she was in on it.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad to hear.
That's good because Pamela Anderson is now woke queen. on Twitter, and
she's gone the full leftist.
Exactly. She has the best kind of description of the Paris riots, the best examination of the material conditions that led to the Paris riots that I've heard from probably anyone. It's very good. Honestly, her becoming woke is probably my favorite part of the current hellscape that we live in, the current political hellscape.
Her being woke is really good. Cher.
Oh yeah, Cher's woke too.
Comrade Cher. We've talked about Comrade Cardi in the past.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, and they're not just like talking like lib stuff. Like they are going full on leftism. Talking, campaigning for unionization.
Exactly.
For the beheading of capitalists in the streets. They want blood.
Well, I don't remember Cardi B ever saying that.
Through the streets of Hollywood as the poor storm the top of financial buildings, and defenestrate the pigs at the top.
Did they really say that?
Well, not in so many words, because they have a character limit on Twitter.
It's true.
But that's the general vibe.
Once they extend the character limit by another 100 words, watch out, baby.
It's only a matter of time before Pamela Anderson is just like
taking the streets,
just like tweeting the Communist Manifesto.
Oh yeah, a PDF of that Das Capital is going to be on her Twitter. But anyway,
right. So, just really quickly, I read a New York Post article. Apparently, Pamela Anderson appearing in this movie resulted in her divorce from Kid Rock. Who,
what a tragedy!
Shamed her for her appearance, and that sort of caused a schism between them.
I forgot they were fucking dating.
Me too.
What a power couple!
They were married. Yeah,
that is terrible. Well, you know what? Another good thing to come of this film, then, in the long run, because I wouldn't wish somebody be married to Kid Rock, my worst enemy.
She deserves better.
She does, and hopefully she finds better one day.
Worth noting that with her appearance in this episode, she has now been referenced in half of our back catalog.
It's true. Pamela Anderson should Total Entertainment Forever get a what do you call it? What do you call that monument with the president's faces? A Mount Rushmore. Then she will be on it. She, Harmony Korine,
Joe Rogan,
Leonardo DiCaprio. We'll all be on that Mount Rushmore. It'll be great. God, is there anything else about this film that you wanted to share?
There is. There's a big one.
Yeah.
Actually. So, in this film, last week we were talking about sort of Christian Bale's devotion to acting, the extent to which he'll go to get ready for performance. I want to say the bravest piece of acting, really just the biggest example of being devoted to your art that I've ever seen occurs in this movie during the fight scene at the hotel between Borat and the man who travels with him, whose name I can't
fat man
pronounce.
That was also he's in some other stuff.
Yeah, but Sacha Baron Cohen takes a morbidly obese man, takes his ass, not the cheeks, pardon my French, the literal asshole.
Oh no!
To his face. Mouth region, nose area for an extended period of time.
So if that sounds like
it's
your cup of tea, folks, then go ahead and watch it.
Amount of time. The man is gyrating on top of him. It's a 69. Both men are nude.
Wine dine
both
69.
Men are hairy. Both men are sweaty. Full on.
It's truly revolting.
Mildly arousing.
Wow. Anyway,
and he's unperturbed because he manages to get up and then immediately
he's dedicated.
Enter a chase scene,
a
running naked,
full nude chase scene,
through these hotels, entering elevators with poor people not smart enough to escape said elevator before it closed.
Yeah. And I'm glad it's only that one scene. Like I said before, my problem with Bruno is that it's that scene multiple times. Like most of the punchlines in that movie involve Sacha Baron Cohen's dick. And, I think really that kind of scene is most effective when it's like one and done. Like, this is the peak of grossness. We're not going to try to outdo it. And
no, there's no topping that.
And jumping off of what you said about him just being a brave performer dedicated to his craft, I think that's not only exemplified in him having a large nude man sit on his face, but also just in the sense that In both this and Bruno, and probably his new show, that This America show. I haven't seen much of it, but I'm sure there's examples of this as well in that. He literally probably could have been murdered on multiple occasions.
Oh yeah, no, when he performed like the national anthem in Texas, the fake one. It wasn't Texas. It was somewhere in the South at that rodeo.
Are you sure it wasn't Texas? Because everything about that
Texas.
scene just screams Texas.
It was Texas or Virginia.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sings that modified national anthem, and it almost starts a riot. It's a bunch of angry Southerners.
Oh yeah, no, they are about to like murder him, and I think he had to actually try to run away to evade them. There's another example of him like in Bruno. Just like this is just something that sticks out to me. Like he's literally almost stoned because he's like wearing like a skimpy version of like a Hasidic like Jewish outfits in I don't know some Middle Eastern country, I believe. And literally, like you see, like a few sick Jews just run out from nowhere and just like chase him at top speed. He runs into a van, and the van escapes. It's terrifying, and the fact that he goes through this is very brave and clearly very influential too. A lot of people are kind of building off of that kind of shtick. Eric Andre and the like.
Oh yeah, these people are really committed to their brand of humor. They'll go through hell or high water for it. Speaking of hell or high water,
wonderfully
next
done.
On the list,
immaculate.
Jeff Bridges, Ben Foster, Chris Pine, Hell or High Water.
Yes, a movie from 2016.
Yeah, it's fairly recent.
Yeah.
Watched it recently.
Yeah, you're the one. You're gonna have to bear most of the discussion here because I have not seen it recently. I did watch it about a year or so ago, and I liked it. There's a few parts I liked more than others, but what'd you think of it?
Well, it was same. It was very good. I got some serious like latter-day Cohen vibes.
Oh yeah,
and just,
definitely some latter-day
Cohen. It's sort of like a. Not a deconstruction of a Western, but there are Western elements.
Sort of, yeah. It's sort of a meditative version of that kind of story.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cohen-esque dialogue and the banter between the two groups, that being two brothers who are bank robbers and two Texas marshals who are pursuing them. One of them played, as I said, by Jeff Bridges.
And just for the sake of it, the other one is played by Gil Birmingham, who I'm not familiar with.
Right. Yeah, well, both sets of characters in this movie, pretty good chemistry together.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges and his partner throwing around a lot of racial humor.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, again, surprising. You never got any backlash over that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, good movie. Some trucking, some fucking. Yeah, there's some depth though. It does a really good job of sort of depicting sort of a lot of working class characters and sort of their struggles.
That's what I remember about.
Yeah, they never are in the forefront. They're always small side characters. But I think the overarching theme of the movie is it takes aim at the financial sector. It takes aim at like predatory lending done by banks.
Yeah, it really does. I do remember that. It just paints the picture, like whatever this town is very like decimated by all these like forces that are pretty much keeping all these people in poverty. And these two bank robbers, Ben Foster and Chris Pine, are like they're depicted as like doing this because almost because they have to. For their families and whatnot.
Very sympathetic.
Yeah, it's a really empathetic look at these types of characters, at this type of story. It definitely does a better job at kind of acknowledging these the reason people do these things. It shows both sides of the situation very well.
Right.
And yeah, I was a fan. And Nick Cave did the soundtrack. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. Mm-hmm. Big fan of Nick Cave. And, Bad Seeds.
We're big Nick Cave.
Warren Ellis is also a part of. Mm-hmm. The soundtrack was kind of underwhelming though.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot happening. I think his soundtrack for another Western, what was it? The assassination of Jesse James for the coward Ben Ford was Robert Ford. Yeah. Was a lot better.
Right.
But it's always fun seeing Nick Cave's name pop up. There's also going back to sort of the message of the film. there, in addition to a lot of humor directed at Native Americans, something that doesn't occur a lot in media is it sort of addresses America's history of genocide and mistreatment of its natives, which is the whole plot is sort of succinctly tied together at the end, where Jeff Bridges and his partner are sitting outside of a cafe, and his partner, who is half Native American, half Mexican, has a spiel about how white people stole the land from his ancestors, only to have it stolen from them by bankers a couple of generations later.
And that line is basically the summation of the movie's themes in many ways. Yeah, no, I definitely like this film. I'll probably give it another watch pretty soon. This is the kind of movie that I watched with my dad. He's a big fan of these types of movies, specifically. It just literally, like, this is right up his alley. Anyway, anything else about Hell or High Water?
Nope, that's it. Anything you want to talk about?
All right, we are... no, like I said, it's not very fresh in my memory because I saw it like a year and a half ago, but I'm glad we juiced some good discussion about it, out of it. And yeah, I guess, you know what, we're knocking the shit out of the park. Let's move on. All right. Okay, so I saw something else today. Not today. I finished it today, I guess. I watched, and I figured I'd just mention it and recommend it to people because I enjoyed it. And something we don't really talk about a lot on the show is that we're true crime heads, or at least I am, and you are also a fan, to a certain extent.
I'm a fan. I don't like when my fandom is referenced in public in front of strangers, so I guess I'm not that deep into it. I'm not willing to live with the stigma quite yet, but
there is a certain stigma about being a true crime fan. Yeah, I usually try to make it clear that I'm not like a person that keeps a Jeffrey Dahmer poster on their wall.
That's disturbing. You have like a small shrine for the Columbine boys.
I don't do any cum tributes to Ted Bundy or anything like that. I'm not a fan of that kind of true crime head, and it's a shame. It's a fine line one must walk to be interested in true crime, to be interested in this stuff, but also not be like a weirdo that's obsessed with the killer and completely unempathetic towards the victims. But I feel like I try to walk that line well because it just interests me, and I recently saw something that appealed to me as a true crime man. The second season of American Crime Story, subtitled "The Assassination of Gianni Versace." It's basically just the story of this guy Andrew Cunanan, the serial killer who killed Gianni Versace and a bunch of other people, and it kind of explores his psychology. It explores his motivation, which is basically just the fact that he is just incredibly vain, and got like a lot of ideas from his like con artist dad about what America is and what it owes special people like him. And he probably had just naturally low empathy, so the combination ended up being very toxic, and he basically walked through life lying to himself and others about his status, seeking to kind of rub elbows with more high status individuals. He eventually became an escort for a lot of these individuals. A couple of which he murdered. And yeah, it just shows. And what I appreciate about this show specifically is what I mentioned before. It doesn't really it doesn't really depict this Andrew Cunanan guy as being anything more than what he is, which is just this shallow and vain person who is not special whatsoever, despite how he sees himself. The end shot of the entire series kind of exemplifies that really well, I think, and it really does flesh out the victims in a way that I feel like a lot of true crime media doesn't. This person that Andrew was involved with, his friend. Almost entire episodes were based around all the victims, including Gianni Versace as well, and it depicts his relationship with his sister very well, and his motivations, what he's about as well. And yeah, I'd recommend it to anyone who has time and is interested in that kind of thing. I feel like the first season about O.J. Simpson was also really good, but and I think it's slightly better.
I hear a lot more about that season than I have this one.
Yeah, this one seemed to fly under the radar.
Was a lot bigger.
It's true. It was a big cast.
John Travolta, David Schwimmer.
Yeah, this one was a pretty
Cuba Gooding Jr.
mild cast in comparison. Like, Penelope Cruz was in it. She played Donatella Versace. And I think that might be the biggest name in it. Cause,
I just ran through the cast. The other big name is Finn Wittrock.
Yeah, who's in it, and he plays one of the victims. And his character specifically was really good because his character really kind of fit into the what society was like at the time. And it really, his character really did a good job of exemplifying what it was like to be gay at that time, especially being gay in the military. And it was a really touching episode, the one centered around him. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. The guy Darren Criss, who played Andrew, he was in Glee, another one of Ryan Murphy's 68 television shows that come out in the past decade. And he was really, really good as the main character. You feel for him just enough, but also, like I said, the way it's depicted, you get that he is completely just wrong and fucking terrible because he is just an absolutely awful person. And yeah, it's interesting. And like I said, true crime heads who have the patience for this kind of format. It's only, I think, 8 or 9 episodes. You can give it a watch if you'd like. And yeah, that basically is the end of my description of the show. But I recommend it. And I just figured I'd throw it in. Anyway. Questions, comments? Would you like to move on?
Did Ryan Murphy have any hand in developing this?
Yeah, this was a Ryan Murphy joint.
Okay.
Because like I said, he's got so many fucking things under his belt.
Yeah, what? Like 3 on TV now, right? American Horror Story, the Scream Queen show.
Well, Scream Queens I think was canceled, but also there's that show Feud. There's another show that just came out about like cops or something. I don't know. And there's yet another show that he's making for Netflix now. Like, the man is insane. He is just dishing out those shows like it's nobody's business. It's impressive, really. It's a shame that almost none of them get any like decent resolution. He's not very good with that. That's always been his weakness. American Crime Story specifically, though, it seems like he's just unfocused because or at least whoever else is involved with producing it, because they were supposed to make a season about Katrina, and the fallout from Katrina, and that ended up falling apart. They were supposed to do something about Monica Lewinsky, I think, both of which I think could have been interesting if done well, but neither happened. And now the show is just kind of floating through development hell. It doesn't seem like as of right now they have any idea for the next season, and it seems like this is pretty common with Ryan Murphy stuff. He will often have a really good spark and just kind of, let it sit for too long. But we'll see how it goes. I hope they make another season because I like the style of which these shows are presented. Just melodramatic enough, but also not. It doesn't go like full American Horror Story camp, so you can take it seriously. And the actors are all good, and it's really well shot. The cinematography is pretty gorgeous. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
All right. Good. So, speaking of melodrama being melodramatic, tomorrow, although it'll be yesterday when this is posted, I'm going to see Cold Cave live and concert. Yeah. So I figured in preparation for the show, I've been listening to a lot of sort of gothy tunes. Some of that.
I love me
some
gothy tunes. You know that. Did I tell you? Well, I know I told you this, but it's just for the audience. Some goth flexer just followed me. He's just a guy that hangs out. He dresses like Robert Smith, and then he posts things on Instagram that says, like, I love music, but I love pussy more, and stuff like that. It's a very strange combination of aesthetics.
Listen, get on his good side. Slide in his DMs and get him to give us a shout-out.
You know what? Maybe I will. I've always wanted a goth flexer to be on my side.
Does he live in Florida? I might see him at the show.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. I'll do the research later. But
all right.
Go on. Let's hear those goth jams.
Start with Cold Cave, who in my opinion is like the platonic ideal of the sort of, dark sort of synth-pop thing that New Order definitely started back in the 80s.
Where they left off, yeah.
Right. The instrumentals initially started, like on his first album, it was just some really idiosyncratic, beeps and boops on his debut that was Love Comes Close. But he sort of moved on as he's gotten more comfortable in the style to some full-on, like, anthemic fucking bangers on his best album, in my opinion, Cherish the Light Years. So The guy who the mastermind behind the project, Wes Eisold, actually used to front legendary hardcore band American Nightmare. But the vocals on this project, obviously not the same. They sort of run from a understated Ian Curtis-esque sort of mumble to like a not very technically good, but just really fitting sort of croon.
Right.
And I recommend it. It's not just like sad boy music is the thing. It still has like the energy
It's
of
got
synth pop.
like the beats are banging. Like you can definitely groove to it. Especially if you're a fan of that type of tune.
It's club music.
It definitely
It's club
is.
music. This is the ideal
It's
music.
the castle music.
No one knows what the castle is. It's the ideal
Local
music
reference.
for like strolling up into your local goth club and sort of getting whipped by a buxom goth gal.
By some goth gal. Oh yeah.
Right. So another band I've been listening to a lot lately, on a different side, more of a post-punk band, is called the Soft Kill. Really melodramatic stuff. Instrumentals sound a lot like The Cure, but with a little bit more oomph. There's like a lot of driving bass lines,
right.
And but it has that very hazy sort of reverby guitar and vocals that are very deep. I get moist for baritones, but it's very restrained. And you want to get into them. They put out an album, I think, in 2016 called Savior. That's very good. And then another band who was supposed to open for who is opening for Cold Cave, called Adults. It's Adults, all caps when you spell the band's name, with a period at the end. And the one I listened to from there is from 2005. It's called Give Me Trouble. And it's essentially like a goth B-52s.
What?
With,
See, this one I'm not familiar with, so that's interesting.
The vocals have like a very Lydia Lunch kind of like snarl. It's just really, really quirky stuff. The other stuff I've heard from them are just kind of like generic synth pop, kind of like techno influence. Yeah. But this album was really good.
Huh. Okay. Are those all the music recommendations you have?
Just the 3 for this week.
Yeah, no, good. We'll probably throw more of those your way.
Next week, though, prepare yourselves doing a deep dive into the recent Weezer discography.
Oh boy, we're gonna.
I don't expect to come out in a very good mood.
That's a project that I'm gonna leave for you. I will listen to the new album just so we can have something to discuss. This week, if you're into goth music, you got your fix. You got some recommendations. And what else are we doing next week? You want to give the people a nice...
What are we doing next week? Next week, we're taking a break from our more than 15-year-old meme movies. We're actually going to do something recent. We're going to do Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Hell yeah. In my opinion, one of the best, if not the best movie... of the last year. It's terrific in every way, and I can't wait to discuss it.
Right. Also, maybe next week, topic, sort of a segment Nick and I have been discussing, the Merzbow Minutes, a 60-second period of time wherein I review one of the 400 records released by famed Japanese noise artist Merzbow.
And this is definitely going to be your thing, because only you're the person that I trust to actually listen to it and articulates what exactly is going on in these albums.
I did. Back in high school, I want to say, freshman year, I would be up. It'd be 2 or 3 in the morning. I would be staring dead-eyed at my family computer. The noise, the harsh noise, the static, the hiss pumping through my headphones as I just, played baseball sims, I guess I used to do a lot.
So that's what
then.
you did instead of go to high school.
Well, yeah, so this would be, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and then eventually I would be like, oh, that's enough, and I would go to bed, sleep through school, and, be up at, 2, 3 in the afternoon, spry and ready to do it again.
Andrew, you are the blueprints of a wonderful and successful individual.
I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, podcaster, baby.
It prepared me for what I do today. Who else is willing to do this for you guys?
I don't know if anyone else.
No one else is qualified.
Anyway, folks, I think that's going to be it. Today, like I said, a little more disorganized, a little more jumpy, a little more sporadic. But we'll be back to our usual format next week. And hopefully you enjoy what we gave you.
Right. And if you did, remember, like, subscribe on all your favorite podcast aggregates, your iTunes, your Spotify.
And even if you didn't, subscribe, comment anyway. Just because we're,
let that be your good deed for the day.
Exactly. Give us some pity.
You can find us on Twitter at TotalPodForever. Please interact. We will be checking our mentions.
We check them literally every minute. And hopefully one day we'll get something.
Very, very dry.
It's true. Our DMs are dry. Even in more reason than one this time around.
You can find us on Instagram. I'm at No Future Part 3. Nick is...
He is McGetnoided. That's MCGETT_noided.
Right, and that just about does it for this week.
What a week it has been. Anyway, we'll see you sooner rather than later, guys. Take care now.